Howdy, math students. It's Mrs. Marcellus and my furry friend, Forgot. In today's lesson, we're going to learn about function tables. Today's learning objective is students will find function table inputs, outputs, and function rules by completing and analyzing function tables. Sounds like fun, doesn't it, Forgot? Well, I bet there's some vocabulary to go with this lesson, so let's check that out. First, let's start with function. A function is a relation that assigns exactly one output value to one input value. A function rule describes the relationship between the input and the output. The independent variable is the input value. The dependent variable is the output value. So basically, what you get out depends on what you put in. That's true with a lot of things in life, isn't it, Forgot? Let's take a look at an example of a function table. A function table is used to organize the input-output values and function rule. As you can see in our function table, our input values are in the first column. X is the independent variable. We put different values in for x, then we apply the function rule of x plus 5, and in the output column, we get our dependent variable. What we get out depends on what we put into the function. You'll also notice that these are labeled x and y. This really comes in handy for us when we go to graph these. The inputs are going to be the x-coordinate on the coordinate plane, and the outputs will be the y-coordinate. Are you ready to give some a try, Forgot? Then I think we should get started. In our first example, we are going to find the output by completing the function table. We will put the values given in the input column into the function rule and find the output. We will start with putting 10 in for x. 10 minus 7 is 3, so that is our output. Next, we will plug 15 into the function, and we have 15 minus 7, which equals 8. And finally, we'll plug 20 into the function. 20 minus 7 equals 13. As you can see, the output depends on what we put into the function rule. In this function table, we have a rule of 3x. When we input 4, we will have 3 times 4, which equals 12. We will then have 3 times 6, which equals 18, and 3 times 8, which equals 24. We have successfully completed our function table. Sometimes with function tables we'll have to work in reverse. In this table we are asked to find the input. We can think of the function rule and the output as an equation. For example, with the first output we would have x minus 4 equals 10. To solve this equation, we would add 4 to both sides. In doing so, we would get x equals 14. Therefore, we know that our input is 14. Then we have 14 minus 4, which equals 10, so we can check our answer. So in order to get our input, we do the reverse of the function rule. Since we are subtracting 4, in order to find the input, we will have to add 4. Next, let's go to 14. 14 plus 4 is 18, so that will be our input. 18 minus 4 equals 14. And finally, we will add 4 to 18, which gives us 22. 22 minus 4 equals 18. As you can see, the function rule for this table has 2 steps. First, we will multiply 3 times x, then we will add 2. In order to find the input, we'll have to work in reverse. We will subtract 2, and then we will divide by 3. Given the output 17, first we will subtract 2, which gives us 15. Then we will divide 15 by 3 and find that our input is 5. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 2 more is 17. To find the input for 20, first we will subtract 2, which gives us 18, and then we will divide that by 3, which gives us 6. 3 times 6 plus 2 will give us 20, because that is 18 plus 2. To find the input for 29, we'll subtract 2, which gives us 27, and then we will divide by 3, which gives us 9. 3 times 9 is 27, plus 2 is 29. So you can see, in order to find the input, we just need to work in reverse. Let's complete a function table and graph it. As the fastest land animal, the cheetah can run at a speed of 70 miles per hour. Wow, that is fast! Assuming the cheetah ran at a constant rate, make a function table showing the number of miles the cheetah runs in 2, 4, and 6 hours. Then graph the function. Let's complete our function table by writing 2, 4, and 6 in the x column. Then our function rule is 70 times the number of hours. So 70 times 2 is going to give us 140 miles. 70 times 4 is going to give us 280 miles. And 70 times 6 will give us 420 miles. Next, let's graph the function. In order to know where to put the points, we will take the input values and output values, or the x and y, and combine them to make ordered pairs. For example, our first ordered pair is going to be 2, 140. Then we'll go over to our graph, and we'll go to 2 and up to 140, and that's where we'll put our first dot. We'll have to estimate a little bit because the miles goes up by 50s. Then we'll go to 4, 280, and we'll put in a dot there. And then finally we'll go to 6, 420, and we'll put a dot there. You might notice that these dots seem to be falling in a diagonal line. Since there is a constant rate of change, this is what we call a linear function. It is something that we'll be learning more about in future lessons. Well, Furqat, that's an interesting fact about your relative, the cheetah. 70 miles an hour is super fast. That's the speed limit for the cars on the highways around here. This concludes our lesson for today, so bye for now, math students.